you all are standing around the dungeon, arguing. One person wants to go this way, one person wants to go that way. Someone's even arguing, why are we even here? I don't even know what I'm doing with you guys. And you just can't help but wonder, what happened to us? We started doing this together because it was fun. We enjoyed working with one another. And now it seems like your group is on the brink of falling apart. Hi there, Dr. Megan Connell here, and this is Psychology at the Table. In this talk, we're going to be talking about group dynamics and how to get your group to come together and work together. Because let's face it, a big part of being a dungeon master is getting your players, not the player characters, but the actual humans controlling the characters, to all come together and work together at the table. Now, I'm again excited to announce that one of my colleagues is going to be joining me. Dr. Heidi Limbrunner is an expert on group dynamics, and so I'm welcoming her to my table. Hi, Heidi.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
Great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. So tell me a little bit about when a group comes together, what are the stages of group development, and what does that look like when a group's coming together?
Sure. So there's really what we say either 4, almost 5 stages of development. So when a group comes together, we first have the forming stage, then we have the norming stage, then we have the kind of conflict stage, and then we have really the stage where they really succeed and do well together. Okay. And then at the very end, we have the adjourning stage where we kind of end and kind of go off into our own different worlds and components.
Cool. So when we're in that first coming together stage, what does that look like? What kind of behaviors do you see at the table, or with people coming together in a group?
Absolutely. So this is the polite stage, right? Okay. So think about when you're meeting somebody new, right? Everybody's nice, everybody's polite, kind of really putting your best foot forward to try to meet everybody. And this is really when you're getting to know the surface individual, but you're really not completely letting people know who you truly are. So this is a beginning stage of the group, usually very little conflict, getting to know each other. Kind of think of when you're first starting a new job or meeting a person. That's really the forming stage of the group. Really the personalities start to develop. People may start taking on different roles, but people are still trying to figure it out. And really, as the group leader, your role really is to kind of help people feel more comfortable and kind of help kind of set the stage of what the expectations are. But it really is kind of people getting their feet wet, kind of understanding the lay of the land.
And how generally, for a group that meets once a week, how long can you expect the forming stage to generally last? People being on their best behavior and super polite.
Usually a couple of weeks, I think. So maybe 2 3 weeks of really just trying to get an understanding of what the temperament of the group is going to be like, what the expectations are. And then you'll start seeing more of the personalities coming out, people falling into their individual roles.
All right. And so tell us a little bit about that second stage. So we have the forming, then we go to the norming.
The norming. And that's really where where people start playing their roles of what they're going to be. People are more comfortable, people are more their true selves, and so people start taking on individual roles. The expectations are clear, and this is when you may start seeing a little bit of conflict in the group as well. So people maybe not always agreeing with another starts to happen at the very end of the stage.
Okay. All right. So we'll start seeing people fall into the note keeper, the kind of the mother hen of the group, maybe, or the rules lawyer kind of thing.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, now probably the one that everybody wants to know about and where the most challenge comes up.
Right.
Storming.
Storming, absolutely. And storming is named storming for a reason, right? Because this is when conflict happens. So people are in their individual roles, but people are not necessarily always going to play nice. This is when you might start seeing some conflict, people not always agreeing, people having different thoughts about something. So some people are hesitant towards conflict, but storming is actually one of the great stages of development of the group, because this is where you can solve issues. This is where you start making progress. Those different points of view actually help you make progress as a group and help you make gains as a group as well. So that storming stage is when you do see that conflict, and when really as a leader your role is to kind of hear those different points of conflict, but also help the group come to a resolution as far as how they're going to move forward from the group.
And so we didn't say how long the norming stage tends to last.
I think it varies from group to group, but I would say maybe 4 sessions, 5 sessions.
Okay, so that's a little longer.
A little bit longer.
And then I'm guessing the storming stage, the length of time you spend in that probably depends a lot on your game master and how well you manage those conflicts at the table.
Exactly. So it can last for a small amount of time, or it can last for a very much longer period of time as well.
Okay. And then how about the performing stage? What are some clues that we're in that stage and we finally move past the storm?
Absolutely. So this is when your group really starts high performing. So you've gotten through the conflict that's really almost stagnated you, but now if there is conflict to help move you forward.
Mm-hmm.
So this is when things are really running well. People are in their individual roles, but they work well together as a team. Mm-hmm. And so if there is a conflict, because you're always going to have some conflict or different opinions, and conflict is not always a bad thing,
mm-hmm.
that's easily resolved, and then you're moving forward and you're really kind of seeing gains as a team.
So in the storming stage, when you have conflict, that might be a couple weeks to resolve it,
Exactly.
But in the performing stage, it might get resolved that night.
Exactly.
Yeah. The next stage.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. And then I don't think we talk about like when groups come apart, that termination.
Yeah.
So someone's moving away, or we've decided that it's time for our group to disband.
Mm-hmm.
What are some ways that somebody can do that well? Rather than just being like, okay, we're done.
Exactly. I think it's all about communication. And communication, I think too, is key to an effective group.
Yeah.
So communicating, we're going to be moving forward, or we're going to be adjourning, and here are the reasons why, and kind of having some sense of a closure. So having a chance to say goodbye to the other team members, or kind of giving them feedback as to what you enjoyed about them as a group, and even as like a leader too, giving feedback on what you hope that they work on, or ways that areas that they should focus on to improve, to grow as an individual, as a team member.
I'm always a fan of like when we're closing out a group to have some sort of symbol.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I love that.
Yeah, when I finish one of my therapy groups, one of the things I do for them is they all get a bag of dice.
Okay.
They get their own dice, and that's their little talisman that they can carry on from the 8 or 12 weeks that we spent working together.
Love
it.
Yeah. So. Yeah, one of my favorite ending rituals is doing stones and putting a word on that stone for them to remember, to kind of take with them. So if it's like strength, or if it's like peace or happiness, like it's something that they can kind of take with them.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Now, I know there's going to be a ton of questions about problem players, conflicts, and everything like that. But I have good news for everybody. Heidi has agreed to come and do a few more episodes with me, so there'll be more stuff that we're going to talk about. But we want to give you that general outline of the stages of group performance. One question, too, is do the stages ever repeat? So if you have a group that's meeting, say, for a couple of years, do you ever kind of go back through the stages again?
I think you do see that on occasion too, and I think with a lot of groups there are new people who come in, and so you do have that newness stage again, like the forming stage. You can have that repeat itself. So for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Anything else that you think would be important for people to know about the different stages of group development, or kind of how to manage that?
I think communication really is the key. I think you have to communicate, and you have to kind of be transparent too in that communication.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Well, I hope this was helpful to you guys. If you have other specific questions that you want to ask, please leave comments below. Again, we are going to talk about intergroup conflict, what to do when that storming stage gets to be a real big hassle. If you got a toxic player, I think also maybe we're talking about discussing the different roles that people might fill, and understanding the helpfulness or unhelpfulness, and maybe how to move people into different roles if they don't like the role they have in a group or something like that.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
All right, guys, thank you so much, and let's make space at the table for everyone.